just introduce ourselves. I'm Courtney Farquhar, and this is my husband and business partner, Ruairi O'Brien. And I've been in real estate since officially 2016. I joined my family team in 2015 as their assistant to learn the systems and models and how they do business. And then in 2016, I was thrown into the fire, literally just had to kind of jump right in and, you know, be that expert right off the hop, but it was amazing. And in 2017, I officially took over the Farquhar Advantage team. And then Rory joined me last year. You can tell them a bit about who you are.
Yeah, so I work in the construction industry for 15 years. I'm a plumber by trade. And then for a good portion of my career, I was managing jobs and stuff like that. And then I was estimating jobs and project manager. So I felt like I could bring some value to Courtney's business, and I've done that. And then, you know, I've been grappling with, of course, supporting her business, but making sure that I'm lead generating as well, not just relying on what's there, but you got to make sure that if there's a business there that you're joining, you got to make sure you're making calls as well and bringing business in. So that's been my journey so far.
Awesome. And lead generation is the topic that we will be covering today, of course. But we thought we'd just discuss a few points just to jump right in of what we're going to be covering today. Throughout, we will be asking for a little bit of interaction and feedback and some ahas. So please participate where you can. And of course, if you have questions, we will do our very best to answer them. Okay? So what we're going to do today is we're going to discuss our mission, your mission. You're going to create your mission and the importance of setting it up so that you're successful in the class.
इसके हस्बैंड 80-90 की जॉब थी, इसने छोड़ दी उस बंदी के.
Oh, maybe mute yourself.
बंदा भी एजेंट बन गया.
Pradeep, do you think you could put yourself on mute, please? And then, thank you. And then when you guys want to speak or when we're asking for you to participate, you can just go ahead and unmute yourself. Thank you. The importance of mindset and the 6 personal perspectives, how accountability is critical and accountability tools, the benefit and purpose of scripts, and commitment to ignite the program that you've signed up for. So we'll just jump right in. Which page? I think you're there, which is get your head in the game. So welcome everybody. And what we're going to talk about right now is there's a few questions here. Some are pretty obvious answers, and the others we're going to help answer for you. So the first question, is, have you achieved your financial goals through your career so far, and why or why not? Now, typically the answer is no, we have not achieved our goals yet. We're only in the month of April. So we still have a lot of time to figure out how we want to get to our goals and what we're going to do to achieve them. The second one is, what is one thing that makes one real estate sales representative more successful than the other? And the answer is lead generation. If you're the one that's out there doing the work, making the phone calls, door knocking, however you decide you want to lead generate, if you're doing that, you're going to be the one that 30, 60, 90 days from now is seeing the business come back to you.
Just a note on that, sometimes we see very successful realtors whose business is just coming to them, but you always hear about those years that they put in of constantly lead generating, building up that database, and then it starts to just fall into their laps, for lack of a better word. And even when they're at that point, they make sure they're always lead generating as well. Otherwise, you lose the leads and it becomes everyone else's leads, and then you don't have any leverage there. So, you know, sometimes you look at people up on a pedestal, but there was years of hard work that went into to get to that point.
Mm-hmm. Next question is, why don't all sales representatives do this? And most often the answer is because it's hard. They're not disciplined, not skilled, and they don't believe it's important. But we see time and time again how important it is, and I know you know that. The next one is, how do you feel about that? That's your own personal, answer. You probably have this on page number 7 if you're all looking at your book. You can write in some answers here. And particularly you can write, how do you feel about it? How do you feel about lead generation? And then maybe you want to come back to it and sort of discover what it is about it that you could break through as far as the barrier goes to become more comfortable doing it. Because we all know it can be a little awkward. Is your desire to succeed more powerful than your fear from not doing the one thing that will make you successful? And what should the answer be? Yes! We want to succeed. We want you to succeed. We're in this business to succeed, right? We realize that in real estate, there is no ceiling. You are the creator of your destiny within this business. And that's one of the most exciting things about real estate is you can go as far as you want to go. So keep that in mind. Okay, so next page, you're in business. So that's page you're still there. That's good. Well, you can
Just
stay back.
Yeah.
Okay, so Roy, did you want to speak to this one?
I guess the point of this and what I learned is that, you got to realize that you're in business, and in order to be in business, you need to lead generate. And in order to be in the real estate business, you really have to be a salesperson. So to speak from my own experience as a plumber, I had to go through a 5-year apprenticeship, and I felt that's when I became the expert. But I had to do a quick learn on that and just realize that if I want to be in this business, I need to be getting on the phone. I need to be calling. I need to be that expert right away. Or at least if I don't know that information, I can always get off the phone and get back to them and do the research and come back with real answers. So you got to realize you're in the sales business, so you better be able to do that one way or another. Find the way you're most comfortable, and you better be lead generating. Otherwise, this is not the right job for you. So you got to understand that and just make sure that you're prepared to do that if you want to stay in this game, kind of thing.
And it's nice, of course, to think, oh gosh, somebody's going to call me. You wait for that phone call to come, and sometimes it does. But usually it's because of your efforts of being in touch with people, constantly, communicating, whether it's a real estate phone call or simply just a phone call to say hello. If it's a happy birthday note, an anniversary report, whatever it might be, you're keeping in touch with your people. And so therefore you're going to be front of mind. Okay.
So we'll go to the next slide.
Page.
Start scrolling down.
Yeah. Okay. The 6 personal perspectives. I think you guys did a little bit of work on this yesterday, or I think maybe you perhaps watched a video. So hopefully you have some idea of what the 6 personal perspectives are. And we're going to just go through them with you one by one, just so we can speak to them a little more clearly. And yeah, that's the first one, self-mastery. So self-mastery is the possession of great knowledge, skills, and habits that make you the master of you. And when you commit to achieving self-mastery, you know your goals, you know your strengths and your weaknesses, and you know how to work with both your strengths and your weaknesses to seek the master the necessary knowledge, skills, and habits to reach your goals. So something that we really want to reinforce is this quote right here, which says, throughout Ignite, you will be acquiring the skills and developing habits to be successful. So this Ignite training is all about setting you up for success. Like, rather than starting and not really knowing how to do it, if you sort of just follow this model and you stick to it, you won't be grappling and wondering, oh gosh, well, I should be doing something else right now and I'm not doing it. You'll have a better sense of time blocking and knowing during the day what you should be focused on so that you can be successfully in business.
I think a point to that as well is know your strengths and start with those. So let's just say you see everyone online and on, doing social media, and that's not your strongest strength, and maybe it's door knocking and seeing people face to face and calling. Well, work on that and then get that down pat. And you can you might leverage and get some help with the social media part, or if the social media is your thing, then dive right into that. Figure out what your strength is, work to that, and then you can learn other things. But you got to identify what you're naturally best at and start there. So the 80-20 principle is basically the thought that 20% of your actions lead to 80% of your results. So a lot of us create this big task list at the beginning of the day, and a lot of it is just fluff, or it's things that don't necessarily need to get done. And Gary and Keller Williams, they always speak about, before you earn the right to move on to the next item on your list, you better be doing number 1. And that is always lead generation, because that's fine to go through your numbers or organize things. But if you're not lead generating, there's no business to organize. There's no taxes to be done because there's no money coming in. A quick tip for me that I learned at Bold is, I'll start my day writing something that I learned or something that I did well yesterday, something I learned from the day before, and then I'll do a list, put 20% on one side and 80% on the other. That's how I'll use my headings. I'll go through my task list and I'll separate them. putting some of my 20% that's really going to create money and create business, and the 80% are just items that have to get done.
Yeah, your 20% is your money-making activities. That's the stuff that's it's not, organize the office, or I've got to do this or that. It's not your like little checklist. It's the stuff that you really need to do to be in successful business.
So make sure you're separating those items. Don't just make one big list. Make sure you separate them however works for you, to that you're working on the 20% that's going to make you money.
Mm-hmm. And then E to P. You spoke to this one earlier well.
So E to P is moving from entrepreneurial to being purposeful. Sorry. So entrepreneurial is, again, just saying, I'm going to speak to everyone about real estate, and eventually business is going to come. An example of being purposeful in that is like, what we do is we go through our database on a systematic basis to make sure we cover everybody 4 times a year. So we're doing certain last names one week, 2 other letters the next week, and that's putting purpose to it. It's not just randomly calling people. It's saying, I know I've called those people last month, and I know I've had a conversation. I'm going to speak to them again in 3 more months. So it's not just, entrepreneurial is just going out there and making things happen. You got to put a purpose to it. You got to put a system towards it to really produce results. And
we recently started doing that choose 2 letters of the alphabet approach, guided to us by our coach, and through Bold gets you to do that too. I don't know if anybody's done the Bold course, but what's great about that is you're calling people too who you're maybe always putting at the bottom of your list for some reason, maybe because you haven't talked to them in a long time, or you don't really know what to say, which we'll talk about too a little later on, which is scripts. But when you choose the letters of the alphabet, it forces you to call the people. Yeah. So that's a really good strategy. Okay, number 4 is make being learning based. So you can switch to the next. Oh no, it's there. Sorry, it's underneath our heads. Make being learning based the foundation of your action plan. And it's so true. I mean, as soon as I jumped into real estate, I immediately started to, I did Ignite like straight away when I joined the brokerage, and I would attend as many sessions as I could at the brokerage. And then I did family reunion. We go every year, and mega camp, and all the other different things that are offered to us and available to us. There's so much to learn. And of course, you don't want to always be the eternal student either. You want to make sure that you take what you're learning and you implement it, because it's sometimes easy to just go course after course and say, oh gosh, those are all such great ideas, but you have to take them and implement them. So being constantly learning based, even if it's just reading, listening to amazing podcasts, sharing thoughts with colleagues and friends, just always having that open mindset, it's going to set you up for success for sure. And I think we always constantly need motivation. For me, it's like every 2 months, I want to be doing something where I'm interacting with people who are trying to learn and learning from them, and then it gets you going again. Like, it doesn't take long to lose a bit of that motivation. It's always good to join these classes, and it reignites you again, basically, and gets you going. Especially right now. Yeah. All right. Step 5 would be remove your limiting beliefs. We all have them. Like, I don't know, I'm not good at that, so I'm not going to do it. Or I'm not quite an expert yet because I'm new to real estate, so I'm not going to speak to that. Or, when you have those beliefs, you really are limiting yourself. So I always say, if somebody asks you a question and you don't know the answer, then go ahead and say, I don't know the answer. I'm going to find it out for you, and I'm going to get right back to you. That's okay. And I learned that really early on, is that it's okay to not always have the answer straight away, to go get it and to come back and give them the right information. So there's a few other things here. Remove beliefs from their thinking that hold them back, that we were just saying. So in order to successfully develop at a higher level, you will need to clear your mind of limiting beliefs first. For example, are any of these thoughts in your head? So some I just went over, but I have to be an expert and know everything before I can begin my business. I'm not valid yet. I can't be successful yet. I will need to invest a lot of money to kickstart my career in real estate. Or some people might say, I don't have a website. I'm not going to be a respected realtor if I don't have that set up. So I'm sure that we have some of these limiting beliefs, and it's through education and through conversation and through learning that you can start to eliminate these beliefs.
And I think through action is the most important thing. When I first started calling, I wanted to get my script just right. And then you could spend all day, trying to perfect your script. But obviously you do have to practice, but start calling, start getting into conversations and things will start to roll. Don't get fixated on the small stuff.
Yeah, because it's true. The more you do it, the more comfortable you become with it and the better you become at it. And then be accountable.
So accountability is definitely probably the biggest item as people are working maybe as individuals and not in teams. You have to create accountability. This doesn't always cost money, but we luckily we have a coach through MAPS Coaching, and since I joined Courtney, I've been able to avail of that, and I've found that to be the biggest springboard for us in our success, and having someone who's really geared to speaking to that all the time. It's been huge, but you don't need to go that far right off the hop. If money's an issue right now, you can create partnerships out of this Ignite group. Find somebody who's got the same kind of motivation or within the brokerage even, the same kind of trajectory as you, and start meeting up with them and start sharing ideas. That's a great way to do it. And mentors, that's something I set up for myself this year. I said I'm going to meet with 12 business owners this year, which isn't it was once a month. So it's not even within real estate, but I'm meeting up with people for lunch that have been successful in business, and I'm asking them how they did it. And right off the hop, I'm creating a relationship, and they're asking about what I'm doing. So it can be within real estate, it can be without, but there's many ways to do this without just spending money on a coach. And then the most important part about that is being accountable to yourself. It starts with you. You got to make sure you're doing your tasks every day. And one way to be accountable in that situation is to have that mentor or peer partner. You set that up, and then you have someone to fall back.
And Roy did touch on this. I mean, they don't have to be within our brokerage. It could be any other realtor in any brokerage, but you definitely want to choose an accountability partner that has the same mindset in the sense of where they're going with their business. If somebody has really big goals, if you have really big goals, then you want to align yourself with somebody of similar goals.
Or if you can find somebody that has even slightly bigger goals than you, I find that to be pretty cool too. And then they're kind of pushing you like, oh, that is possible. I can do that. Don't go under, look above, try to go up if you can.
Yeah. Okay, so those are the 6 personal perspectives. We will move on to getting the most out of this experience. So I know that this is the first official day of Ignite. So we're going to be going through a few things here. I'm assuming most of you know what the word capper means. There may be some of you on this phone call that don't know what that means. But essentially, when you cap in Keller Williams, it means that you are now earning 100% of your commission because you've paid what you owe to the brokerage. Paige, am I speaking nicely enough about that? Yes? Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yes, it just means that you have your own fiscal year as an agent and you have paid what you have agreed to pay to the brokerage. And it's a fixed amount. It's the same for everyone.
Okay. All right. Action reveal. Go ahead, Laura.
So this is a form I believe that you're going to fill out. Did you guys do that the first day, Paige?
Sorry,
No.
we did not. I think it's a part of this one. We did not.
Okay, no problem. So the first one is, well, you might have because you talked about gathering your supplies, right? Okay.
Actually fill out the form, but yes, I went through the form on the first day.
Okay, so then we won't repeat that then because you guys have gone through that already. Number 2, expectations for this power session. No, we've gone through that.
Well,
oh wait, sorry.
Just again to talk about the expectations of this session. What we're trying to do today is you want to declare your personal big why. And that's very important because that's going to be your motivation to achieve your business goals. Why are you doing that? It can't just be, I want to make more money, or there's got to be a bigger reason, something that's really going to motivate you. So we really want to get to the nitty gritty of that today. You want to set your monetary goal in the Career Growth Initiative, your CGI calculator.
And we're going to go through that today too. So Paige is going to walk us through it. We'll take a number and she's going to show you exactly how you can get to what you need to do to get to where you want to get to.
Yeah, how many deals you have to do to get to your profit goal for the year. So it's important to see those numbers in front of you so you can always be trying to achieve them.
Because then what that can also do is you can break it down so much to know, okay, how many appointments do I need to go on? How many deals a month essentially do I need to close so that I can guarantee I'm going to get to my goal? It's pretty cool. It's a fun exercise.
The next thing that we want to achieve today is start to be accountable to your big goal, or your big why, I should say, and your monetary goal. So it's fine to have this big why and your monetary goal, but now how are you going to be accountable to it? Like, what systems are you going to put in place to make sure you're achieving that? And then lastly, the last goal of today is using the influencing sales language. So scripts for calls, just mastering them, making them your own, and then you can speak freely to these different topics when you're asked about them.
And I think you got the scripts package yesterday, so you should all have scripts. Right, Paige? Yeah.
We can go down to ground rules.
Okay.
If you don't have it, please send me an email or send me a chat box here, and I will send it with your email address, and I'll send it.
Okay. Okay, ground rules. Well, the first one is arrive to class on time. But we are not physically together, but arrive to your Zoom call on time. We appreciate that. So thank you everybody for being here. And be fully present. So we're working on our computers, but what I often do when I'm doing things like this is I close my email tab or any other tab that I could easily click on that could be a distraction while we're learning. Gary's favorite, or no, it came from Bold, so it must have been, what's her face, I'm forgetting her name right now, but how you participate in here is how you participate everywhere. So be a full-on player, like get into this, do what you gotta do, and you will for sure see the results. It does seriously work. Respect the different learning styles and opinions of others as we share. Help each other learn because none of us are as smart as all of us working together. Consider everything we discuss confidential. Commit to implementing at least one thing you can learn, and of course, have fun. Okay, so
next page.
Next page. Action reveal. Oh, now didn't we do this one?
So is this video? Do we have it? Is there a video here, Paige, or?
No. Paige, you're muted.
Sorry, there's only the one video from page 37, which is the script.
Yeah, okay. So you can go to the next page?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly where we want to be. Your big why. Okay, so this, we need to dig a little deep, each of you. This is your reality check, and it lets you get to the bottom of the reason you're in this business. It's time to be brutally honest with yourself about what drives you. So you can see a few things here. It's really trying to figure out what you're passionate about, what stirs your soul, why you are in this business, and what you hope to achieve for yourself and your family. So what we thought we would do is share our big why with you, so you could kind of have an understanding of what our passion is and what drives us to be successful in this business. And maybe then it might help you get some ideas. So it's here. Rory, why don't you speak to it?
When I was talking about my big why, and to tell you the truth, it still needs to be completely formulated, but I know this already in my mind. If someone was to ask me, it's that my big why is freedom. And what I see as freedom is the freedom to do things like invest in opportunities when they come, freedom to have time to invest in others, like to help with charities or to mentor, the freedom to take a vacation when we want to, you know what I mean, with our family, the freedom to help out our family if they need it, the freedom to host people and friends and family and do stuff like that, and the freedom to call your own shots. I find, like, until you get a certain point in life, you're always kind of under the guise of other people until you create your own life. And to create that big life, you really need to be successful in business. So I can take that big picture all the way down to every day saying, did I contact people today? Did I make phone calls? If I didn't make phone calls, am I going to get to my big why of freedom? Am I going to be able to purchase that investment property this year? I'm probably not going to be able to. Who do I have to blame? Myself. So that's my real, and that kind of funnels out a lot of decisions I make. Like, do I need to spend money on this, that, or the other? I don't, because it's not going to get me to my big goal of having freedom, of investing, of creating wealth for me, my family, and really for the community. I really want time to invest in the community, to mentor people, and to give back. So that's my big why I do it.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Where did my slide go? Oh, here we go. Okay, So
Go down, keep going down.
down. Sorry, we're just following along here too, so just give us a sec. Okay. So I'll just read this at the top of page 20. Top sales representatives can all articulate their big why, and you will be able to as well. A big why is what keeps them going when they're tired, bored, or disappointed. It's the spark that ignites their every day. Your big why might be to have your financial success tied directly to your efforts instead of a salary controlled by the opinions of a boss. To build your own business, to achieve a bigger life through your business. So those are just a few ideas and suggestions, and kind of get to thinking. You want to go there or right down here?
Yeah. So again, they speak a bit underneath that about your big future. So you really want to visualize your big future. Like if you could have, the future that you really want, what does that look like? You really need to articulate that. You need to write that down. I can do that. I can speak to it. You need to do that as well. If you haven't already, I'm sure a lot of you have. And that forms a part of your big why. So right now, I think we're going to take a couple minutes.
We're going to need 5 minutes.
To write down your answers to these questions. Does everyone have this book in front of them?
Page 21.
Page
do
21.
you have that? Are you looking at page 21, everyone? Give us like some thumbs up or something.
You can unmute.
Yeah. Okay, everybody's got some thumbs up. Okay, so if you could go ahead and write down your answers to these 4 questions. It's exactly 2 o'clock, so we're going to, I'm going to sing you some elevator music. No, I'm kidding. We'll check back in with you guys in 5. We'll give you a notification. So go for it. Sorry, I'm going to interrupt for 1 second. It does carry on to page 22, and you'll see the first question on page 22 is to try to write out your big why. And it's not going to be perfect the first time, and it's going to take, some effort and a few redoings, but just go for it anyhow. All right, hi, welcome back. Okay, so if you feel compelled to share with us, go ahead and unmute yourself and share with us maybe an aha, a thought, maybe you're clear on your big why and you're ready to go ahead and make a statement out loud. So is there anybody there that would like to share? Joe, you look perplexed. You okay over there?
It doesn't have to be perfect, by the way.
Yeah.
It's just throwing out some ideas of maybe why you're doing this. You don't have to have the whole thing completed, but I'm sure everyone here has an idea of why and who they're working for and what they're working for. So I'm sure there's some ideas there. We'll get you out of bed in the morning and into track things.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. So my name's Brad. Just a little introduction to myself. I'm actually just about to become an agent with Keller Williams. I've been working on my license kind of up until now. I actually finished my last exam the last day of school closed down. So I'm just kind of waiting for all that to roll now because I've not filled along the application process. I'm excited for this. My big why, I would say, is not only financial freedom for myself and my mom, but I'd love to be able to build to a position where I can pass down generational wealth, whether that's 1 or 2 generations, depending on how long and hard I work with this, but also to get to the point that I can leverage what I know to help coach and mentor other people to get to where I get to. And just be known for the work that I do in the community and hopefully worldwide for charity.
Nice,
That's
Brad.
great.
That's very clear. That's awesome. You were a little bit muffled, but did you say like building generational wealth?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, no, that's okay. That's awesome. Those are amazing goals. It sounds like you know exactly why you're getting into this business and what you need to do to get there. So way to go. Hey, you're going to be teaching Ignite sooner than later.
What are you doing tomorrow?
Awesome. Good for you. Anybody else interested in sharing? If you don't have to, if you don't want to, but if you want to go ahead and give a few thoughts, then please do.
I have a couple of things,
Hey,
if
Chris.
okay.
Sure.
Hi. I've been in real estate about 20 years, and in the midst of that, I have done other jobs. And in a job or many jobs, there's a specified limited job description. This is what you do, but don't go beyond that. What I like about real estate is that there's such a wide range of skill sets that you can use and diverse aspects to the business and industry that I appreciate and like and I'm able to use.
Yeah,
That's great.
And I guess within that, you can find your major strengths and really utilize them in this business.
Very much so. Yeah.
Good. Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Sure.
Okay, guys. Well, we appreciate you participating. Thank you. So next is when we're going to speak a little bit about, I think Paige is actually going to jump in here, and we're going to talk about your monetary goal. And with that, we're going to be going through a commission situation where, okay, you want to net a certain amount of money. Paige is going to take you through an exercise that will help you understand exactly sort of how you need to get there, what you need to do to be able to get to that goal. So Paige, we're going to turn it over to you. We'll mute ourselves and then we'll unmute when we have something to add. Sound cool?
Sounds good. Thanks. I'm just flipping my stuff here, so give me a second. So basically, we kind of say that no one gets in. Can you all hear me? Everyone's good? Thumbs up? Okay. So basically, we kind of say that no one gets into real estate to make less than $100,000 in their bank account at the end of the year. So I have done all of these calculations based off of that idea of having the $100,000 in your bank account at the end of the year. So that's just what this is on page 23 is your annual monetary goal. However, if that's larger for you or smaller for you, a goal is based very personal and you have to base it on yourself. And then this is just easy to do the calculations. And if you ever need help, then just reach out to me and I'm happy to help you. So we took the average sales price in Toronto, which is approximately between January and February, sitting about 850. And that was just a nice round number for me to use. And the average commission rate to you, it would be 2.5%, which would give you the average commission of $21,250 per deal that you then closed on a single side. Does everyone following along? So if you go to page 24, we're actually going to leave this calculate your own commission for a second, and I'm just going to show you kind of what that looks like. So here in our market center, our cap is $22,000 a year on your own fiscal year, as well as your royalty is $3,000, which is paid to the KWRI. And so your total cost would be $25,000. We also add that business cost, the cost to market your business, the cost to run your business. It should be 20 to 30% of your profit. So that is going to be, we're saying 25,000 for the year based off the 100. And then your incremental tax rate is going to be approximately 30% after you have taken all these deductions from your business. So then you would need to have 180,000 basically. And then I have just done this little 4 conversations that we sent you in the email also. So basically we take that 180,000 and we take, can you all see this? I'm just going to explain the numbers like really kind of quickly, but basically we take the 180,000 and we divide it by the average commission, which was the 21,250 from the other page, divided by the average commission. So for the year, to make 100,000, you need to do 12,500 a month for 2020. And that's based on 8 more months because we've already done January, February, March. April is a little bit of a write-off. So May to December, you're going to have to do 12,500 per month in order to hit your profit goal of 100,000 for the year. So what that looks like then would be 1 closing if you have a sales closing based on the average commission of the 21,000, as well as listings taken. If you have 1 closing, you're obviously only need 1 listings taken per month. We do say from every listing that you have taken, you also will get a buyer and a referral. So if you can do 1 per month, then you're going to more than achieve your goal in a Toronto market. So obviously that's going to vary depending on the average sales price for you and your area. And if you're a KW agent, it actually calculates every year on your My Reports under KW what your average sales price is. And you can see on your multi-year trends year over year what it is. So that would give you a better representation to be able to fill this out for yourself. And I can show you how to do that. And so then basically working backwards, we're going to be having 2 listing appointments a month. And I really kind of say if you can do 1 a week, that's great. But if you do 1 every other week, then that is going to allow you to achieve your goal of the 100,000. And so I just kind of recapped it like a little bit quickly here. So you need to then do 9 transactions because 8.5, but if you do your 9 transactions, then you're going to be more than on your way to hitting your goal. And you can go back and fill it out for yourself. And if you're not unsure of the calculations, then just unmute yourself and ask me, and I'm happy to help.
Nine transactions to make $100,000. Woohoo! Guys, that's nothing. Imagine you double that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Something that you said, Paige, that made me just think of something that our coach recently just said to us was you should be doing a listing presentation once a week. And if you're not doing a listing presentation to a potential client, then you should still be doing the presentation to somebody. And she said that the best results are when you do the listing presentation to a non-realtor. So call up a friend, you know, maybe somebody else in business that you know, give them your listing presentation. Chances are maybe they'll be thinking of you in the future for business if they hear what you have to offer. So make that perhaps a goal for yourselves is to, if you're not actually presenting present anyway. Okay, little tip.
Just a little note on that is that we have a finance committee that got off to a start and is slightly slowed just due to current circumstances, and Paige and myself and Courtney on it. Paige is an amazing resource in our brokerage, and she, if numbers aren't your thing, just keep learning about them. Don't be afraid. It's not like you have to be an expert on them. Keep having that conversation, and then they'll come. And when you understand your numbers and you understand your business, things will really, propel and go forward. So we're looking for people to join our group is my point there. So if anybody wants to get involved, we'll obviously leave our emails at the end of this, and we'd love to have a couple more people join our exciting committee.
And I also just want to add something there too, which is that before real estate, I was in the world of music. I'm a musician first. And I wasn't really into numbers. I wasn't really into money. I wasn't really, it was part of my artistic lifestyle, if you will. But what I realized, and I actually didn't think that I was good at math, but I am. I love numbers and I love money. And that's not coming from a negative place. It's coming from a place of knowing all the good that I can do with it. So we have fun in our numbers group here, and you should join us. So check in later. Okay. Skill number 2. We're gonna. Thanks very much for that, Paige. Appreciate it. Commitment to daily lead generation. So this is on page 27. So if you don't know your big why, you're on your way to knowing your big why and your monetary goal. So that's excellent. And so how are we going to get there? And it's going to be through lead generation. So it's kind of a neat little chart here where they show you, how many hours you need to put in a regular job, let's say, if you were in a factory or something. And then they jump down to how real estate is no different. So you have to put in time to lead generate, and then you have time for appointments, time to write the agreements, contracts, and then close, which is when you get paid. And they say typically that can be anywhere from 90 days. So if you think about it right now, we have a pretty cool opportunity, because what we're finding in our lead generation is everybody is home and everybody is answering the phone and everybody is in for a chat. All of my phone calls have been longer than normal. I'm not calling to talk real estate per se, or I'm not wearing that hat in these calls. Right now it's about just connecting and saying hello. If they ask real estate questions, I'm happy to get into that with them. But what I mean by all that is that in 90 days, when perhaps they might be thinking about doing a real estate transaction, we'll be the ones that are at the front of their mind. We'll be the ones that they say, hey, we're going to call the Farquhar Advantage team. We just chatted with them. That's where you want to be. So right now, as I said, is a great opportunity to connect with people, because everyone is home and they're willing to answer the phone and have a conversation with you. What else do I have to do here? Do you want to talk to that?
Sorry guys, my internet went out.
Pardon?
Sorry, my internet went out at the office.
Oh,
okay.
That seems to be a trend.
I know.
Sorry, guys.
So again, they're just speaking about if you want to get paid 90 days from now, there's a bunch of steps that have to go in there. It doesn't just appear. It starts with lead generation. It starts with calls. Then you'll start getting appointments, and then you'll start writing agreements, and then you'll end up closing contracts. But there's steps that get you to that point, and it always starts with however you lead generate, on the phone, or previously it was door knocking, or writing notes, or social media, or however it is. But don't expect to get that money in 90 days if you're not lead generating now. So the work you do today is going to pay off 90 days from now. So lead generate every day, building your database of contacts, communicate people within the real estate industry. That always helps. You don't always have to, if you don't want to call clients one day, call people within the industry and ask them how they're doing, how listings are going, getting market information, which in turn will be helpful for your calls the next day to your clients. So, always be making those calls and connecting with people within the industry as well.
And just to that point, maybe some of you don't have databases currently. So, you just want to start then with your sphere of influence, the people that your friends, your the parents at your kid's soccer, whatever, you know what I mean? Like just whomever it is, and start there and start connecting with those people and add them to your database, and then start building it out from there so that you can continue to add people and create that awesome database that you are going to eventually have and nurture.
Yeah, we see even when I'm listening to bigger teams, I'm going to seminars, and where they used to do a lot of cold calling, they're now spending all their money on reconnecting with people who they do business with regularly. They're not just going out there and trying to grab people from the fringes kind of thing. They're doubling down on the people that they've contacted or worked with before, and that's who they're calling because it just costs a lot more. It's a lot more inefficient to just try to pick people. And it's great to pick people off the internet or however you do it, or people you don't know. But typically, if you know the person, it's gonna be a less work and less cost to generate a deal out of it.
Something that we noticed that I did a little check on our business last year, and because we spent a lot of time, we really pour into our database. Almost every single deal that we did, except I think 2, were either a repeat client or a referral from somebody in our database, and then the other 2 were people that we met at open houses. So if you really pour into those people, you know, and you do your client events and you are touching them 36 times in the year, they will be thinking of you and they will be referring you business. It's working for us. It's proven.
I just need this slideshow again. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Paige just went back off the internet. So
this slideshow up here.
We can't, I don't know how to share our screen. Just bear with us a sec. She'll probably be back in a minute. So we'll just speak. We're going to pull up the slideshow on one of our other screens, and then we can speak to it from there. Just one sec. Ignite, session, ignite, down. Instructor info, that first one, yeah. Okay. So the next is lead generation funnel, which is on 29. So basically, each section of the funnel has an important aspect to it. So you need to have leads first, obviously, to create appointments, to create agreements, to create contracts. So a lot of this, I guess, would also come down to how are you going to lead generate? And one of the things that I learned early on is, you know, there's many ways to do it, but you need to, again, going back to Ruairi's statement, figure out what it is that you're good at, and maybe choose 2 or 3 of those lead generation tools. So maybe you're really good at open houses and connecting with people. That's one of my favorite things to do. So I like doing my open houses. I like calling my database. I'm not so into door knocking. I admit it. Ruairi, he's great at door knocking. So that's one of his things. It's great, but I don't have to do that. So, you know, figuring out what it is you're good at to get those leads, to create the next steps of the funnel. Paige, are you able to pull back up the slides? You're muted, but I think you're saying yes. No, we can't unmute her. She has to unmute herself. Okay. So on page 30, it says calling every session. And basically, what this is saying is that there's a simple formula, right? If you go to the center of the page, it says simple formula. Why can some sales representatives make 100 calls a day and others fear the phone? Because successful sales representatives follow a simple formula. And I'm going to read that out to you. Number 1, leverage powerful scripts. Important. 2, build the relationship. This is a business of relationships. You need to build that. Number 3, ask for the business. That's a big one. I think a lot of people are afraid to ask. They feel like, oh, I'm embarrassed to do it. But there are ways around it within the scripts that you can do it nicely where it doesn't sound, you know, the way you don't want it to sound. And number 4, ask for referrals. And 5, come from contribution, which I think right now is a really, really great opportunity. So it comes back to your mindset, one of helping people and being positive. Focus on your goals, avoid attachment to the outcome, and you will succeed. So it's true, you don't want to be worrying so much about, well, is this going to get me this, whatever. It will. You have to just focus on it and continue to do it and do it regularly and daily, and you will start to see the successes from it.
We got another good tip about calling your database. Let's just say you call everyone quarterly, so that's 4 times a year. You're going to have them on the phone. Make 2 of those calls about just a relationship call. How are things? How are you doing? And make 2 of them about asking for referrals. So right off the hop, if you feel like letting yourself off the hook one of those times, you don't have to ask every time you call. It doesn't have to be, do you have a referral call? 2 of them can just be about your relationship, how things are going. How's the weather?
I just drove by your house and thought of you, wanted to say hello.
Yeah. What are you doing to keep active in your living room? Things like that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And then number 31, page 31, 4 powerful habits. So number 1 is grow and manage your database. So as I mentioned a second ago, if you, are we there? Go ahead. Yeah. If you don't have a database, how are you going to create it? How are you going to add 10 new people to your database every day? And contacts are people that you've met. So you want to have their information. So you want to make sure you have their phone number, their address, and their email. And that really, then you can add them in as a contact. Number 2 is prospect. So speak with 10 people in your database every day. That's not a big deal. Like if you think about it, that's 50 contacts a week, 10 phone calls a day. It's nothing.
And again, some people switch it up just to like get to that number. So some people do 5 phone calls and 5 texts a day. It doesn't all have to be, and 5 emails. So now you're making 15 contacts, but a contact counts when they respond back to you.
Or you can, a pop by, but I arrange my pop bys because I want the person to be home when I pop by. So that's another great way to, have face-to-face. And it's considered lead gen too because it's a nice visit. But again, you're in front of them, you're making contact with them, they're going to be thinking of you. Number 3, if you have that conversation, don't forget to follow up with whatever you said you were going to follow up with. And 4, know your market. So especially right now, it's a really great time to make sure that we're studying MLS daily, that we're looking at the statistics, we're seeing what homes are selling for, how long they're on the market, whatever it might be, just really knowing what's going on in the marketplace. Whether it's at a time like this or not, we need to be the experts. You want to speak to the 10-4?
10-4 is just what we talked about.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that was 10-4.
Yeah. Any chance you have those slides yet, Paige, or?
No, sorry. It's I had to go into the PC computer and it doesn't have the slide.
Okay.
Give me a second. I'm trying to email them from my MacBook because my MacBook's not connecting to the internet.
Okay.
No problem. There's a KW My tracker.
There is, and actually I can share that. I have made the tracker for everyone on Google Sheets. For those who are not with KW, and then also if you sign into your KW, so let me just share the screen and then I can show you how to get there.
It's gonna jump right down to scripts and stuff like.
Okay, so sorry guys. So here is my tracker. And so if you have signed up for the Ignite session, if you haven't, just send me a quick chat or email. I'm happy to do that to add you in. And you all should have access to this tracker. So it's the daily 10-4. You've added the 10 to your database. These are like 10 people that are for sure going to be buying real estate or interested in buying or selling real estate this year. Made 10 connections, which is just reaching out to your database, new clients through Facebook leads or online leads or a referral, however you're making those connections. I know it's a little bit more tricky now that we're doing business from home, but it's still possible. And that you wrote 10 notes, like actual handwritten card notes that you're going to mail out to your clients or into your database. And preview 10 homes is now basically, we're just saying that you have researched the trap market or done an online open house.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, be really honest with yourself with this exercise too. Like, you're not going to get in trouble. The only person you're going to be fooling is yourself if you give false numbers. So go ahead and try to do this full on. And if you don't reach the daily goal, then don't feel bad about it. Just try to do it the next day. And just be honest with yourself. That's what's important. Okay.
The next section we're going to move to is scripts and the purpose of them. And again, I like sharing. So my first, my first impression of scripts, and some of them that I was reading in these books, that they're kind of cheesy and sales pitchy, and it didn't come off natural. What I've since learned is a lot of the top agents I speak to, or people who are presenting in bold, or some of these amazing agents, they're all kind of saying these scripts, but in their own way. So they're amazing objection handlers. They know exactly what to say when people are asking them questions, but they communicate it in their own way. So what I've learned from that is it's not about repeating word from word what these scripts are. It's about learning the scripts, taking them in, making them your own, and then repeating them back in a way that's natural to you and natural to the people you're talking to. So it's important to practice any phone calls I make. I'll either take a kind of a portion of the script that I've read, that I have saved online, or I'll kind of create my own, and I'll always refer back to it. So I'm not just freewheeling it all the time. Like I'll freewheel a bit, but there's a purpose to why I'm calling, and I'm making sure I'm getting that information across. And there's a reason why I'm making those calls. So it's important, even if you do it yourself, write it out on a piece of paper before you make those calls, so you're clear on the message.
Practice them out loud, or when you choose your accountability partner to check in with, maybe on your call, you say, okay, we're going to do 5 minutes of these are my goals and your goals for the week. And then we're going to do 5 minutes of just practicing a script back and forth. And the more you practice it and the more you figure out a way to communicate it in your language that you're comfortable with, the easier it's just going to come out of your mouth when you're in a situation where you do need to handle an objection.
And an example of that is is a client asking you to cut your commission. I typed up a script and we created it, and we've looked over it many, many times. And now we're able to speak to it very freely when it comes up.
Before you kind of maybe get a little, oh God, like how am I going to answer this? But now we just know exactly how to speak to it. We're confident in the way that we answer the question or to speak to them. And it always ends up working out just fine.
And we initiate it. We don't skirt around it. We speak to what we charge as a commission and why. And it's a lot to do with
fee for service.
Our fee for service. And it's a lot to do with our sales to list price kind of thing. And in the end, they want to net the most amount of money. And we have the proof and we have the stats to show that if you use a top agent that markets the property well, you're going to net the most amount of money. And that's really what people are worried about. So you can create a script around that as an example.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if any of you have heard of Joe Stumpf. He's been around for a really, really long time. He's created the company called By Referral Only. My mom, Tassie, was a really big learner from Joe. And I've been listening from time to time in on some of his free webinars, which are fantastic. His most recent webinar was, with the pandemic in mind, was speaking to finding your script around how you can call your database right now, because we don't want to wear our real estate hats right now when we make our phone calls to our people, to our tribe, as Joe calls them. We want to find a purposeful, meaningful message of why we want to communicate with them right now. So I would encourage you guys to just kind of really think about, like, if you were to get a phone call from someone right now, not your realtor, obviously, but maybe somebody else, what would irritate you if they asked you, or, what would you say, oh God, why'd they ask me those? Like, what kind of phone call was that? And what would you want to hear? And maybe that's the script that you can work on right now to call people. Mine right now is to just say, hi, it's Courtney. I'm just calling to connect. I know everybody's home right now, so I knew you'd answer your phone. How are you doing? And then I just let the conversation flow. And it's been so wonderful. I've been having wonderful conversations with everyone. People are happy to hear from me, and it's just a really nice phone call. And sometimes people ask about the market, and most often they don't. So, I'm calling to connect and see how you're doing. That simple.
So next, typically we practice some scripts in class, which we're not going to do here with this kind of setup. But if you go to page 43, there's some examples of scripts, and I think Paige has given you a whole booklet of them or sent them to you. So it's like a new real estate script, new to Keller Williams, just a couple things that you can practice. And again, you don't have to recite them word for word. You have to take some of that in because there's some good info there, and then make them your own. And that's where I feel like they're going to be the most successful. So right now, I think the next goal is to make some calls. And sometimes this is uncomfortable
Yeah.
when we take bold, they force you to do that as well. And if you call 3 people today, it's going to, it's going to check a box off your list towards achieving your financial goals. So what we're going to do right now, and we're going to make some calls ourselves. It says 15 minutes, but we'll probably take 10 minutes. Even if you connect with 1 or 2 people, let's give ourselves 10 minutes so we're not on the line here for a bit, but let's make a call. Like,
even if you call one person,
yeah.
If they don't answer, then call another.
Yeah, make sure you speak to somebody.
If you do get an answering machine, leave a message and say exactly what I just said. Hey, it's Chris, and I was just thinking of you. I was hopeful I'd reach you because I know we're all home right now, but maybe you're outside on this beautiful day taking a lovely walk. Anyhow, just wanted to say hi and just wanted to connect. Hope to talk to you soon.
Also for
follow
me,
up with a text.
Yeah, if I call and I don't get them, I leave a message. I follow up with a text right away so that I feel like I know that I've made that contact, and then you can walk away from it for a week or whenever you plan to follow up with them. So, sometimes awkward leaving a machine, they don't answer it, or that you're not too sure if they're listening to it. So follow up with a text, and then that contact, they know that you've reached out to them.
So I can't see all your faces because you have your names up on the screen, except for a few of you. So I hope you're all still there and you're going to make a phone call. It is 2:36. So
let's just make one. How about that?
Yeah.
Talk to one person and let's just check back in.
And then we'll check back in. So like 10 minutes. Okay? Do it. No excuses. I'm doing it right now. Going on mute.
Okay, hey guys, as we're finishing up our phone calls, we're gonna get back to the session. Is everyone there? Can everyone hear me? You can unmute yourselves for a sec.
Yeah. Courtney's just finishing up a call. I just got off the phone there, so we'll be back in 1 second.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So hopefully I have the tech figured out now. Sorry, the internet in our office can be sometimes spotty. So I have just using the other computer, and I've just PowerPointed the slide, PDF the slide, so it will be a little different, but at least we can see them.
Okay. One more minute and we'll jump back in.
Okay. Do you guys just want to, Rory, do you want me to play the video?
Sorry, yeah, go ahead, play the video. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just start with the next thing is how to use the scripts, and there's actually a video here. So we're gonna just start playing that as people are finishing up their calls, and they can jump in when they get here.
Perfect, thank you.
Hi. Is everybody there?
I think she's playing a video, I think, but I don't see it.
What's happening?
She said she was playing a video.
Paige? Hey guys, I don't know what's happening right now. Paige,
Sorry, it should be sharing.
Is anybody seeing a video that Paige is sharing? I mean, I can't see anybody. They're all, pictures are off.
Okay.
No, it's just
No
a
video?
website.
Just a website.
It's not liking me today.
That's fine, we can move forward for now.
We'll move forward while you're trying to play around with that. How did that go, everyone? Who made phone calls? Brad, you made a call. Awesome. Did you connect with someone?
One person. And then I
Great.
left 2 messages.
Fantastic.
I also just recently moved to the city, so it's just a good time for me to connect with other people I haven't talked to in a while.
Good. Awesome. Anyone else? Connect? Katie? Hi, Katie.
Yeah, I made 2 phone calls and both went to voicemail, and I left the 2 voicemails, and then I did the text follow-up as well as Rory suggested.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's great.
I got 3 answering machines as well. Yay.
Okay.
And 2 text messages.
It's 2 nights a day, everyone's outside.
Yeah. I was able to connect with somebody, and she was gabbing for a while. As I mentioned to you earlier, they're happy to have a longer conversation right now, but it was a great connection. So, you know, it just goes to show you people are home and they want to hear from you. So
Next.
personal notes, handwritten notes. So for those of you that were able to connect with somebody today, write a little note to them, just a little quick handwritten note saying, hey, it was really nice chatting with you or hearing your voice, or welcome to the city or whatever it is. And thanks for the quick chat. It was really nice to connect with you. And then sign off. That easy.
I think the handwritten notes mean a lot to certain people too. One of my first door knocking sessions, I had 2 or 3 interactions that were really, they were older people, let's just say, seniors, and they brought me into their home and they were showing me their whole house and all the things they accumulated over all the years. And it was just really interesting. It was great. So I ended up writing out a couple cards and mailing it to them. And one of the gentlemen I still connect with, and he's just a fountain of information. And I don't know that there'll be ever any business out of it, but it's created a relationship. So I think people appreciate that, going the extra mile to send a personal note.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you see the screen? Can you see the
Yeah,
video?
we can. If you want to go ahead and play the video, go for it.
Okay. Can you guys hear it?
No.
No here? Okay. So let me just maybe show you how to get to the video and you guys can watch it later. Because the technology today is not working out very well. Sorry guys, and I'll send it in an email for those of you that don't have Connect. But if you do have Connect, then you just go sign into my KW and Education, Ignite, and then you're going to click the Power Session 1, and it's going to be right here in the links for you at the bottom. I will email out the link to you after the session is over. Can you now see my slides?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So then Roy and Courtney, you can just take it back from there.
We've got somebody that would like to say hello. He's been so patient. He's been sitting downstairs, entertaining himself the whole time we've been on the phone. So there you go. This is Tommy.
Hi, Tommy.
So the next big skill to develop, which is sometimes the hardest one, is, okay, so now you have your big why and you have your monetary goals, but now you have to be accountable to them. You know, what systems are you going to put in place to make sure that you achieve these goals and achieve your big why? So first step is making an action plan. So Paige can speak to some of that as well. I think you're going to share some of that. So you can get a larger action plan. Let's just call it your 135. And that's your one goal for the year. And Paige, I'm sure, will share all this stuff. So that's a large action plan. That's basically a business plan. And what's amazing about that, it's all on one page. People think of business plans like they have to be this big, complicated document. They don't have to be. We've been able to do it. Now I can actually do that for many things that we do. So that's your main, let's just say, plan. You can bring that down to a monthly and yearly plan and weekly plan, how you're going to do that. And that's your 411. And then to even get smaller than that again can be your daily task list. And again, my suggestion that's kind of worked for me is my task list shows at 20% on the left-hand side, 80% on the other. And I put the most important items under the 20%, and all the other admin stuff gets done after. So you're making your calls, you're doing anything that's going to generate business in the first half of the day, and then you're responding, you're doing admin stuff in the second half of the day.
Yeah, it's really easy to, like, first thing in the morning want to get like on top of
Easy
emails
stuff.
or looking at easy stuff, but that's really when your brain and your energy is at its best level, and that's when you really want to do the 20% stuff.
So all those planning items, the 135, the 411, and then your daily task lists are very important to use them. And again, with us, sometimes we go on good runs with using our 411 and then we drop out of it. And that's why it's important to have a coach, or, you know, just be accountable to your goals, post them on the wall. Like I feel like when I was in the office, I had everything posted on the wall. I have to do it here now at home, and I would look at it every day, and that would kind of keep me accountable.
And you could do that too with your big why. You could print it out and stick it on a piece of paper in front of your computer every day. So you're looking at it, you're reading it, you're reminding yourself why you're doing this.
So I sent out the 135 and the 411 with the script email yesterday. So if you did not get that email, then please email me at mca@kwnr.ca or send me a chat right now. But I sent that out and I said I was gonna help each of you to create your own. If you send me an email and let me know the time that works for you, and I'll kind of explain it. But we have one for the brokerage, and then we all kind of use that to create our top positions here at the brokerage. So I'll be able to help you to create your 135 and your 411, as well as I am the accountability partner for people if they don't have another accountability partner until they kind of get a little bit more secure and feeling that they want one, then you can call into me once a week. I'll call you, you'll call me, and we'll just kind of go through your numbers and give you some helpful tips. It's like 15 minutes. I have about 10 agents right now that I'm doing this with, and it's really been really successful in their business. So I'm here, I'm your resource. So yeah.
I think the point of all that is don't shy away from your goals. Like even if you're not hitting them, face them head on every single day. Like those financial 4 conversations, eventually it'll work. It doesn't have to be perfect to begin with, but at the very least, look at them, have someone to look at them with you all the time. The next step or the next main part of staying accountable is live by a calendar. And again, this is something that I've played around with. And at first I created this calendar. I'm going to do the same thing every single day. And that kind of didn't work for me. So what I've learned is, of course, at the beginning of the day, before noon, I have to be lead generating one way or another. But what I try to do now is like on a Sunday or a Friday, I try to piece together my calendar. What I've also learned is appointments. Like we all need to be going on appointments. And that was an aha for me. Like, am I booking appointments? How do I expect to create business if I'm not at least going on appointments? So I've kind of put that in my calendar twice a week, saying this time slot is open for appointments. And now, like, am I filling that time slot? Is it happening? You really have to be, sometimes I'm just calling. So I've made all my calls and I feel great, but have I booked an appointment? Like there has to be a purpose to those calls. And if you haven't booked an appointment, well, you're not going to create business out of that. So there's many different ways to create a calendar and to do it. Find your best way, look online. There's so many different resources at KW Connect of how to live by a calendar. But there's certain items like time blocking. Like if I want to do something with Courtney business-wise, well, I send out a calendar invite now. That's just how we do everything. And then so you can send it to yourself even. Like, am I going to do this? Time block it. You look at your calendar today. Today I'm spending an hour on X, Y, or Z kind of thing. It's not in the calendar. We all know it just does not happen. So time blocking and then protecting it. So again, if you're lead generating from 9 to 11, do not book appointments during that time. I think some people who are a lot more tech savvy than me, they use a lot of things which we're going to use, like things like Calendly and stuff like that. So people want to book appointments, you give them slots that they can book them in, and certain times are just off limits. So you know that there'll be no appointments made during those lead generation times. So there's many different applications you can use now to kind of protect the most important time, the time that's going to actually create business for you and make money. So yeah, they're just talking about putting a calendar together for Ignite. Another point on that I found is when we do these courses, if you don't do the homework right away, like the day of, like as soon as we get off this call, like try to get through as much of it as you can. It doesn't happen. That's been a regret of mine sometimes when I've left. So I've done, 50 or 60 or 70% of it. And I'm like, oh, I'll get to that after. And that book is still sitting there. So I'm not saying you're going to achieve everything, but really try to get to the main parts and do them right away. And that's going to give you your best success. It's so hard to get back to it after the course is done.
Yeah.
So who's going to hold you accountable? Again, if you can get to the peak of it, that's getting a coach. That's what all successful business people do. I've learned, no matter what industry they're in, they all have coaches. Even if they're super successful, they seem to all have coaches or mentoring. And that can be free, like mentoring, like put a goal like that, like meeting with 12 business people a year. That's once a month. That's not a big deal. You can do that.
Yeah. Or you can also say, hey, okay, this is how much a coach will cost me. That means I need to do one more deal this year. And that basically covers the cost of the coach. So it's about getting your mind shift around the expense of it, because I've had the coach now for 2 years. And I wouldn't go back. There's no way. I mean, it was a total game changer. But again, as Rory was saying, you can start without having to spend money. You can have that accountability partner, you can find that mentor, you can meet with those different people, and then you have that accountability, which is so important when you work for yourself, right?
And connecting with people who want to be successful in this business. So I joined KYP as an example, Keller Williams Young Professionals. So now I was just on a call yesterday with a guy in Hamilton who's part of a big successful team, and he's talking about everything that they're doing, and you're just like, oh, okay, I got to be doing that, or I got to be keeping up. I spoke to another guy in Kitchener the other day, all through Zoom calls. So connect within your market center and then look to reach outside of it. How do you do that? You attend these training events, you join groups. Again, it doesn't have to be Keller Williams. The benefit of that is you're speaking the same language, you're following the same models, so that helps. But like, reach out to people who are successful. People love having lunch. Like, find who's the most successful realtor in your area. Say, listen, I'd love to have lunch with you. People love that. They'll talk about everything they did, how they got there. People love telling their success story. That's what we found. So there's many ways to get that done. How to be accountable.
And that's the 4 conversations, which page went over with you. We're on page 57, the 4 conversations, which Paige just showed on that plastic paper and she emailed out to you. So you could fill that out.
The goal with that is, we're in masterminds, and what I want to bring to ours is every mastermind we go into, we should all have that paper filled out. And again, if it's not going well, that's okay, because everyone has those times, but always revisit those 4 conversations. Just
yeah. And if this wasn't clear, just like reach out to me, and I'm happy to go through with you individually.
Okay. Do you want to go to the next slide, Paige?
Yep.
We talked about that partner's success.
And
So, agreement of expectation.
This is just, they ask you to do this in bold too when you sign up for the course. And it's basically that you're saying that you're committing to this course, that you're going to be all in. And then if you do have family members or significant others that you live with that you want to help support you in this, they have a form there that they can sign as well. And it's basically just saying, maybe I'm going to be working a little late tonight and you're going to have to make the dinner, or whatever it might be.
Courtney always uses that excuse.
Even when I'm not doing it under a bowl. Just to keep this is another accountability piece, really. You're holding yourself accountable, and a family member or a significant other. And
do you want to go to the next slide?
Yeah.
I think that this next slide is you can go to the action plan. So if you all look at page number 65, it's called Putting It All Together Action Plan. And this is basically your homework, I would say. I don't know, Paige, if this is all meant for them to do by the next session.
Looks like it.
Is it?
I believe.
Oh yeah, because it says prepare for the next class. And
I believe it is. Yes.
yeah.
So I mean, the one thing that I always say is try your best to get through everything, but one step is better than no step. So do what you can to have a successful business. And it's more important that you get this done, even if it takes you 2 days, than just to not do it at all because you can't do it today. So yeah, polish up your big why statement, complete your daily 10-4, and we'll be following up with the daily 10-4 again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. with Lizanne. Start tracking your daily activities in My Tracker. So you can use your KW tracker if you're a KW agent, as well as the My Tracker Google tracker that I made. It's the Google Excel. So please fill that out. And if you didn't get the link, then let me know and I'll send that to you. Time block your calendar. So yeah, I do mine kind of weekly, like I have a monthly calendar and a weekly calendar. And then my daily calendar, I kind of leave holes where I can do agent meetings and I fill them in as I go throughout the day. So just figure out what works for you. I use the Google Calendar, but you can have a piece of paper also. So whatever works for you, figure that out. Schedule a regular accountability time with your partner in success. So as Courtney and Ruairi said, it's amazing to have a coach. I have a coach. A lot of successful people in business have coaches. And if you are not there yet to get a coach, find someone that's either better than you or wants to reach the same goals as you. And if you're really not sure, then at least just call me once a week and I'm going to be happy to help you to make sure you're hitting the goals you want to hit.
That's great. Thanks, Paige.
And then find script practice with a partner. So as Roy said, I'm also in KW at Key. And so, yeah, there's lots of online resources. There's lots of online people that you can just meet and that would love to do daily script practice, like throw it on your Facebook and see who responds. Practice your power statement and questions, as well as your introductory scripts. So one thing that's said around PW is I don't want to, like, an amateur practices until they get it right, a professional practices until they don't get it wrong. And so it's just always practicing those questions that you don't know that you're going to have an answer to, and you'll always just have your practice answer. Prepare for the next class. So download the pre-work mission and complete it. We will send that out to you. And then complete any mission that was unfinished before the session. So as I said, if you can't get everything done today, at least plan your week. When am I going to do that? Put it into your calendar. When am I going to be able to finish each of these tasks this week?
Great, thank you. So lastly, we'll just go over one last page here, number 67. We're just going to talk it out. And then maybe you guys can ask us questions if you have any, or give us any ahas from today. We hope that this has been helpful for you. So recall and remember, what are the 4 skills you learned today? Mindset, goal setting, accountability, and scripts. So we didn't really go through tons of scripts, but you've got them there and you're going to start learning them. We went through the 6 personal perspectives. We went through the daily 10-4, so adding 10 to the database, calling 10 contacts, writing 10 notes, and previewing 10 homes. What is the one thing focusing? Question, oh, the one thing, we didn't actually talk about that. The book, did you talk about it last time?
No.
No.
So the one thing is a book that Gary Keller wrote that I've read and lots of people have, and it's available at the office. Basically, he tries to break it down to what's the one thing you could be doing in your business or today that once you do that, everything else is going to be a lot easier. So for a lot of people, and this can change, it doesn't always have to be, you don't have to write something down and just stick to it forever. Things can be fluid, but typically it's lead generation. So if you're calling every day, everything else in your business is going to be easier because appointments will come, closings will come, money will come, and it all starts with that one thing. Are you calling every day? Are you lead generating? If you do, everything else will start to flow. You know what I mean? You won't have to worry about where am I getting business? How is this going to happen? And your one thing can change. For us currently, we figured out with our coach, in order to leverage and get back to what we need to be doing, our one thing was really to hire an assistant. Because once we hire that assistant, they can put lots of systems in place, which frees us up to connect with our data, with our database or with our clients. So your one thing can change, but once we do that one thing, a lot of things become a lot easier in our life. So typically to start off with, it's 100% is lead generation.
Okay, so that's your first Ignite course. It was our first time teaching it, so we hope it went all right for you. Is there anything that you want to share? Do you have any questions that either on this topic or another topic that we can help answer? Anything at all? And if not, that's cool too. That just means that we are like total rock stars. Just kidding. How do we open this bigger? Oh, exit full screen. I just lost everybody. That's there they are. Perfect. Okay. So nothing. Nobody have any questions
or
any challenges that you're up against right now that you could use some help with?
Or any tricks of the trade that you guys have that you want to share with us, because there's so many different ways of being successful in this business and getting it done. So anything that's working for you that you'd like to share that we could all kind of take from, that'd be great too.
Mm-hmm. And if not, Michael, what are you going to say to us?
Well, no, you guys did a fabulous job. I mean,
thank you.
I should say, my name is Michael Chambers. I'm a first-time Ignite. You're supposed to say, yes, you are.
Oh, yeah, well, yes, you are.
That's for all those people that have done bold before, and that's how they approach everybody. No, I think it's great. I think, I'm a relatively new agent as well, and I've talked to some of the people this morning about that too, but the time blocking is probably one of the best things that you can do with your business. If you can time block and do the lead gen every day, like Rory and Courtney said, you're going to start seeing results. And if you don't do it and you don't make those calls, then you're going to be floundering in 60 days, 90 days from now. So it's so key.
It's so true, Michael. You're reminding me of a quote that my coach said once, which was, when you don't lead gen and you're not working on the business, it means that you care more about the people outside of your world than you do inside of your house.
Yeah.
Meaning, you know, if you don't do what you need to do, well, then how are you going to build wealth? How are you going to make money? How are you going to be successful? How are you going to, you know, put your kid through whatever class you want them to go through? So it's the actions that you take now are going to lead to the success down the road, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that. Anyone else interested in speaking? No? Okay, great. Well, listen, guys, thanks so much for your time today. You can also always reach out to either Rory or myself if you ever have any questions or need any help with anything. Rory's going to type our emails into the chat, so just go ahead and write those down. And because we're available now and always. And I hope that the whole Ignite session goes really well for you all. I know that, like, if you really give it your all, you're gonna see some really awesome success from it. So go for it. Good luck. And again, we're here if you have any questions.
Perfect. Have a great day.
Have
everyone.
an awesome day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sunshine. See ya.
See ya.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Our
you.
pleasure.